Yeah, my question is
Okay, you there?
about the split between the people of Amun and the people of Ra. It's kind of like the people of Nubia and the people of Upper Egypt. Um, I was wondering, what do you think was what caused the biggest split from there? I mean, I have a reason why, but I
Yes.
just want to know your opinion on why they split. For me, is
Well,
one side of the people is doing another. You know,
yes. Remember, it's not about our opinions, but it's pretty much the same thing that's happening today, like with religions, where you've got people saying they want to. There's only one God, and to just worship one God, and then you have other people saying, in our culture, in our times, there were more than one God, or what you call God. So, what was, gosh, sorry. Okay. So what was happening was that, like in ancient Egypt, you had the different dynasties, and you had different pharaohs,
Okay.
and people, like the Ramesses. Should I just cut it? Yeah, you had different pharaohs, and with each one, people will gravitate to that person, and then it became a thing where we of the Ramesses dynasty, we of the Amun, we of the. So what happened then was, Unc Atten decided that, he wanted to bring everybody back together under one. So this is where the split of HTM, which was Heliopolis, Thebes,
Memphis
and
and Thebes,
Memphis.
yeah.
Yeah, so, these were the major cities, where the word On, Heliopolis is also known as On, where you get like Solomon. And we've explained that, that actual person didn't exist because it's a combination of putting those three together as one. Where Soul deals with Sal, or the soul dealing with the sun, and Om is dealing with
The tone.
the tone. Om, I spell OM or AUM, and then you have the On, which is dealing with that Heliopolis, or what you're calling the city of the sun. So Ankh Aten, he decided to bring everybody together. So it was like not just the worship of Amun, but let's all bring it together under one being. And this is where religion picked that up, and now you have different denominations, different, like, the monotheistic
Yeah.
religions, where you now got them. They're called the three frogs, and they now decided to go in separate direction, but really they're all one from Abraham. You see, so that's where the confusion comes in, and then it's picked up in the Bible in Revelation 3:14, where it literally tells you that, Amun witnessed
The
the
creation.
creation of God, because God was then created into this thing now that, you have, even within one, like, religion like Christianity, you have so many denominations, from Protestants, Catholics, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness, and it goes on and on and on. And it's the same with Islam. It's the same with what they call Judaism. So this is then into, like, Islam today, where they will say there's only one God, only worship me, don't have no other gods but me. And it's like, why are you jealous? And you're telling me to have no other gods, but you're saying there's no gods to have. So how can I have any other gods? It's a contradiction. So then it's like,
Republican, Democrat.
yeah, then it splits into the two sides who fight each other, from Enlil and Enki,
Yeah.
which is Yahweh and, Baal. And then you just have two sides, and that's where all the competition comes in, because those wars that are going on between the two brothers became Jacob and Esau, and the list just goes on and on and on till today, where you have, my brother just said, like, Republicans and Democrats, or conservatives and Labour, and whenever there's two sides, where there's football teams, it keeps this energy of fighting and competition going, so they can feed these deities that
Yeah.
they are calling on, with that energy that everybody is creating, with chaos and wars, and and it goes on and on.
right?
So now the
And
master teacher's here to kind of bring everybody again back to one, and say, look, we're all under Pa'ut. Yes, sir, go ahead.
So yeah, so that brings me to my next question is that okay? I mean, of course, I know, you know, ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt was the one that started monotheistic religion when it comes to one religion. In fact, I even go further and say um, the Arabs took that our idea from of a one God concept and made their Allah one God, even though Allah was never one God.
Yeah, the
It was
99
him and
attributes and all of that. Yeah.
yeah, the daughters and all this other stuff,
Right.
and then yeah. So I definitely understand that.
But you said
But my
something the
question,
other way around. It was more that we had many gods
Yeah,
because we
that's what I was thinking.
recognized the many different
Yeah.
ancestors, and they tried to make it into one because they wanted you to follow their one God, which is a contradiction anyway. Because in the Bible, like you say, it's Elohim, is Yah, it's more than one. But yeah, I follow you.
yeah. So that's I think that's why I always say, especially with the Islam, is that they kind of believe their own thing, even though they take their ideas from either Christianity or from ancient Kemet, because they still believe in their idols. They just wiped out all the idols and just believe in one idol, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? And that's of course Allah. So I definitely agree with you there. But my question is that if the biggest split, right? When it split, you got Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. Lower Egypt seemed to be seemed to really go hard on this God of Amun thing. You know what I'm saying? Or the worship of the sun, or believing with the commandments of Akhenaten. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, but the Kushite people usually be very hard on that. While Upper Egypt was seen like more like, hey, we wanted to graft in this religion, probably do something new, and and it caused like a big split from the Lower Egypt to Upper Egypt. Uh, my question is this: is that if they was really down for their God and stuff like that, why did they collapse? Because they wasn't really
Why did they what?
conquered by
Oh,
their
yeah.
collapsing.
They collapsed
Because,
because they let foreigners in.
but I don't think they let foreigners in, man. Because
No, Khufu,
they
if you studied Khufu, he actually loosened the immigration.
Yeah, he opened the door for
Yeah, and
immigration.
he
Yeah.
opened the door, and this is where you had a lot of, like, when people say, like, a lot of, like, the people think Egypt was ruled by, like, Greeks, and that's because they came there. When they came, they started to be, they were studied and they were initiated into the lower mysteries, and then you had like the Phoenicians, and obviously these foreigners started to come in, and that's when it all went pear-shaped. And so now people are mixing the practices that came by way of these foreigners. So when you see things like the Thule papyrus, or when they talk about the perversions, when they're talking about the priesthood of Amun, for example, all those things were nothing to do with the original, what people call Egyptians, but we know as the original Patarites that came from Patar, and those beings like Bes, etc. So yes, it's when it was falling, we would say, that happened. I've got this. Sorry, one second. I just want to show you this scroll, or this. Funnily, we just did a video, which is going to come out soon. This one here, right? So this is the book, if you can see it, called "Coming Forth by Day," which a lot of people misinterpret as the Book of the Dead. And this, the master teacher put out, it goes into a lot of detail in relation to what you're asking. Yeah? I don't know if you can get hold of it, but that goes into a lot of information regarding what you're asking. All right.
so
Sure.
do you think? So you think that our biggest downfall was integrating other cultures inside of our own culture? I think
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
yeah. So I think, but that goes back to racism in a sense, right? Because like As us black people, we can always want to join hands with everybody and not be racist. But in a sense, I think that we need to do that because we need to stick to our own culture, our own kind, marry our own people and stuff like that, and go with our own commandments and our own God and believe in our own ancestors instead of going
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
integrating with others.
Okay, I hear you, but the thing is, there's only really one race on the planet, because if everyone comes from the one race, then you cannot be racist because they're your children, if you look at it that way. And when you raise above these lower vibrations, divisions, when you're talking about, you know, people saying we are different or we're better or we need to stick to our own, the master teacher is showing you that no one wins the race in racism. And when you practice your culture, that's not being racist. If you have a preference for your own race, that's not racism. What people do is they're misconstruing what they're referring to as racism with you having, it's like a person, if you look at the musical instruments or even professions, you'll have like a dentist, you'll have a guitarist, a pianist, and a violinist with the ist at the end, right? So when you say racist, people think it's wrong to prefer your race. Every race prefers their race. That's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. So if I prefer to be a dentist, apart from any other profession, it doesn't make you hate the other professions. So if I prefer my race over other races, it doesn't mean you have to hate or dislike other races, because we were made to be different and to
I
then
get that, but
yeah. So
I'm more focused on the culture, like the priesthood of it. Should we like
right, I was just
focus
literally
more?
going to go on to that, because there's a
Okay, okay, my bad. Go
we
ahead.
have this, the 33
I'm
commandments.
jumping ahead.
Yeah, yeah. The 33 commandments. We do have our own culture, our own language, our own way, and our own tones and vibrations and everything, like every other race does. The issue with us is that, like you say, most don't know what their culture is. They don't know what they should be doing, their language, what their foods are, what their dance is, what, is for them, and what their tones are. So we borrow others who have got it from a watered down version of ours. Do you see what I mean? So you're right that we're supposed to know of each other, but when you're dealing with DNA and your legacy and prodigy, it's not like if you decide to have children amongst yourselves to preserve your bloodline and your DNA and things like that, that's not being racist. That's just, that's science. It just makes sense.
That's dealing with natural nature.
Yeah. Like you don't see, like in the animal kingdom, you're not going to see a horse go and mate with a tiger.
Or camel.
Or camel, they're like, that doesn't happen. But in our world, it's like people just think it's okay to just mix with, everybody and anything and produce all kinds of hybrids, which is causing some of the problems on the planet. But
Yeah. So you don't think that even in the church, it shouldn't be mixed in the church?
they shouldn't even
Like,
be churches. That's the problem. The churches are the problem.
well, you know what I mean. It's hard to get out of my.
Well, it's only hard because they don't know, and that's why Wu-Sabat has got to spread. There should be no mosques, there should be no churches,
No synagogues.
no synagogues. But the thing is, the spell has been here for 6,000 years, and this is what it has caused. And all those people, all the songs that have ever been written on about religion, the pamphlets, the books, everything that people do, they're just perpetuating the spell. So this is why Wu-Sabat has to be. Most people in church, when they come across Wu-Sabat, they get their answers, all their questions answered. They learn their way of life that they should be living, and then they leave the church. A lot of people would tell us in our group, we've left the church, we've left the mosque, we're now happy that we found a way. Part of
Yeah,
that.
but the thing is that okay, so we allow people who believe in Islam into the same culture of ours, or somebody who believe in Christianity believe in the same culture of ours, or should we just keep our own culture
No,
and
no. What I'm
preserve our
saying is,
culture?
Islam, Christianity, these are all religions. This is part of the spell. So once you wake up from the spell, you then live Wu-Sabat, which is not a religion. It's a culture and a way of life, which is going to be beneficial to you if you apply it. So we just have to remember. Most of us were once in those churches, mosques, and synagogues, and only when we search for answers and we're looking for answers that the master teacher said, and he answered our questions. So there are many people in the churches and in the mosque and the synagogues that are waiting for us to reach them and to pull them out, and that's what our job is, so that they will know the truth instead of being lied to.
Mm.
Yeah. All right.
I hear you. I hear you. All
Thanks
right,
for your
thank you so
call.
much, man.
No problem. Anytime.